welcome. We're here to add some jokes into our app. Right now, we have one joke in our app, and it's hard-coded. I mean, if you release this to the App Store, well, you can't because, Apple's going to reject it. It's a pretty terrible app. Okay? So you're going to need to add a few jokes. And if you need to add a few jokes, you're going to need an array. Okay? And because each joke has two parts, right? It's got the setup and the punchline. You're going to need to add an array of structs. Remember structs? Well, of course you remember structs. Structs are all over SwiftUI, right? Structs are things that contain multiple properties inside of them. And arrays are kind of like variables that contain more than one thing. Okay, so we're going to have an array of structs. So let's go make this struct that I'm referring to. Let's start by creating a new file to store this. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that by opening up the sidebar. Open sidebar, create new file, and choose Swift file. Okay, and for this, you're going to end up with a little option to name your file as you create it. Right, get into the habit of naming it as you create it. Don't end up with new file 1, new file 2, new file 3, so on and so forth. Right, I'd like you to name this joke. Right, this file is quite literally a joke. Make sure it's uppercase. Okay, capital J. Make sure it's singular. Joke, not jokes. All right. So in the file, I'd like you to create a struct. And here's what you do. Type struct joke. And remember what goes inside a joke? What goes inside a joke is a setup and a punchline. These are two individual properties, and each of them is a string. Remember what a string is? Yes, a string is a piece of text. Okay, so var setup :string. So you actually have to define what type it is, and var punchline :string. Okay, simple enough. That is all we're going to do with this file for the time being. By the way, you can probably close your sidebar at this point. Goodbye. And head back over to content view. You don't need to close the joke tab. You can just leave it there. Okay, this part might take a while, right? Now what we want to do is we want to add some jokes into our SwiftUI content view. Okay, so I'm going to bring this back right now, although we don't really need it. All right, and I'd like you to create an array of jokes. What does that mean? Right, let's make sure you position your cursor right here. Okay, after the word struct content view :view, press enter or return a couple of times. And over here, you're going to create one joke array. We're going to call it jokes. Okay, so this jokes array, we're not going to let the user change it or anything. So it kind of makes sense to make it a constant, right? So let's use let jokes. Okay, and I want to be very, very particular about the name here, right? Make sure that this one is jokes, lowercase j and plural, whereas this one over here, the struct, as well as the file name are capital J joke with no plural. All right, I hope that kind of makes sense. Right, please follow along because it will make more sense afterwards. This is an array. It's a single constant that stores multiple jokes. So I'm going to, well, let's do something really simple. Let's make an array of one single joke first. Okay, an array is defined by using your square brackets. Okay, and because I don't want to have to type everything out in a single line, I'm going to press enter over here and press enter again. I'm just going to type my little joke inside here. Okay, so this joke, if I start typing JOKE, open bracket, I'm going to see an autocomplete here, right? Because we created a struct and it expects a setup and expects a punchline. Okay, so you can, of course, use autocomplete by pressing enter. Okay, and for the setup, we're going to use a different joke from the one on the screen, right? Just so we know when the data has changed. Okay, so I'm going to use a different joke. Let's think of an amazing joke. Think for a while. I know. Why couldn't the bicycle stand up? All right, you can press tab to go over to the punchline. Want to hit the punchline? It's great. It was too tired. Okay, I'm back. All right, so this is a single joke, right? A single joke struct that you've created living in an array right here. Okay, what if you want to add another one? Right, let's go add another joke. So I'm going to press comma over here. And I'm going to choose joke, bracket, setup, colon. Why did the chicken cross the road? Comma, punchline, colon, to get to the other side. Oh my goodness, this is such a great app. This is amazing. Right, I'm so happy about this app. Okay, so that's two jokes. Right, that's two jokes. You can tell because it says joke, open bracket, and then close bracket somewhere further down, and then a comma. And this is joke again, open bracket and close bracket. This one doesn't have a comma because there's no joke after that. Okay, by the way, you can choose your own jokes, right? My jokes are the best because I stole them from somewhere and they're great. Look at that. Okay, let's add at least one more joke. So this one, I'll leave it to you to figure out what you want, right? I'm just going to type another one out and just see how I do it. After the second joke, I'm going to press comma, press enter to go to the new line, and I'm going to say joke, setup. Where do you learn to make ice cream? Punchline, Sunday school. Okay, sorry. Oh my goodness, Sunday school. All right, so that's three jokes. That's good enough for now. I don't think my constitution can actually handle any more jokes, so we'll leave it at this point. Okay? If you notice, we created all these jokes, and nothing changed in our little SwiftUI preview. That's because we haven't used our jokes array yet. Okay? So how do we actually get our jokes array to show up inside the text on the screen? Well, we're going to need to go down to line 13 in my case and delete this thing over here instead of why did the chicken cross the road? Sorry. Instead of why did the chicken cross the road, we're going to use the actual jokes array. So I'm going to say jokes square bracket 0. Remember, we want to start from the very first joke. And the very first joke is at index number 0. Now, this doesn't quite work, right? This doesn't quite work because text expects a string. But jokes square bracket 0 is this entire thing right here. Okay, it's this entire thing right here. It's an entire joke struct. Instead, what we want is we want this part over here, which is just the string. So how do you access the setup from a struct? Well, you just say jokes square bracket 0 dot setup. Okay, and you'll notice that our setup is now in our preview. Okay, so far so good. That's the only other thing that depends on the array. So scroll down, look for the punchline, all right? And now instead of to get to the other side, actually it's not that funny. Jokes square bracket 0 dot punchline. And now you have a full joke, right? You can read it and be super amused for no reason. Okay. All right, that's enough. Okay, and that's how you get your data into your app. Okay, so you've created a struct, you've created an array of structs, and you've taken the data from that and put it inside your app. That's pretty great, right? Next up, we're going to make the button interactive. We're going to make our app even better. It's amazing how much better you can make this app, even though it's so great already. Just look at it. Okay, sorry. All right, and I will see you in the next video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Soon. That's me. That's such a great joke too.